everyone, today I wanted to talk to you about traveling solo as an introvert. It can seem almost impossible for people who are a little quiet and more reserved to think of traveling on their own. Whether it's the notion that I have to make friends with all these other travelers, or the thought of getting lost and having to ask for directions. It's different for everyone in terms of what makes you uncomfortable and to what extent. I know it's almost impossible to tell, but I myself am an extreme introvert. It's not that I don't like talking to people, it's just really hard for me to start conversations, and my energy can get drained rather quickly when I'm around a lot of people. Traveling, and specifically traveling solo, has actually helped me become a lot more comfortable around people, even though some of the conversation is a bit robotic and pre-planned. You know the kind of conversation I mean.
Greeting. Response to greeting. Observation about the weather or day of the week. Confirm and agree.
Okay, maybe not that bad, but still, you get the point. Anyways, these are just some things that I wanted to share with you, things to keep in mind that might help calm your nerves and make traveling solo a little bit easier. One of the best things about traveling solo is that you get to see and do exactly what you want, and you get to choose the pace. So if you're one of those that kind of likes to take your time and relax, you can do that. And if you're one of those that get through things very quickly, you don't have to be waiting around for everybody else. I personally find the bar and nightlife scene a bit too friendly for my liking, so I like to start and end my day really early. I mean, I'm usually at the hotel by like 6 o'clock in the evening. So that's the awesome thing about traveling solo, is that you get to choose, and you don't have to even do the typical touristy things. If you don't want to interact with people, you don't have to go on group tours. If you don't like the outdoors, you can spend your day in galleries and museums. You don't have to follow a pre-planned set itinerary. The only person choosing what you're doing is you. You can also pick your accommodations based on the level of interaction you would like to have with other people. So hotels, especially those with self-check-in, are at the top of the no interaction level. Below that you have Airbnbs, and they have a choice of whether you want to stay at a private, have the whole place to yourself, if you want a private room, or if you want a shared room. So you can kind of, judge how much interaction, how much you want to talk to people based on that. And then below that you have hostels, which some hostels have private rooms, but most of them are shared rooms, like a dormitory style of a room. So where you just rent the bed, you don't rent the whole room. And whenever you are checking in with a hostel, make sure it's not a party hostel, because those are very extroverted, lots of social interaction going on. If you don't want to talk to a lot of people, just make sure your hostel is not a party hostel. The best app that I would suggest going on is Hostel World, or you can just Google whatever hostels are in your area, but just make sure and look at the reviews and look at the description. This is, interestingly enough, also the basic tier on how much you're going to pay per night, with budget hotels getting you about $100 or more a night, all the way down to a hostel bed, which I've seen average about $20 a night. Another thing to remember is that everyone you see while you're traveling solo doesn't really care about you. So if you say something or do something wrong or embarrassing, don't let it ruin your trip or your day, because I guarantee you everybody that witnessed you do it will have forgotten about it by the end of the day. You can also keep this in mind when you have to ask a question, because to the locals and merchants there, you're just one in a swarm of tourists. You're just another face. I guarantee they've probably heard the question you're going to ask, and maybe even worse ones, and most of them understand that tourists are not going to know their way around as good as the locals do. This is one of the beauties of traveling solo, because anything that you don't want brought up later, you can leave out of stories, and no one that saw you do it or say it will remember you when you leave. As an introvert, you should set a specific goal of how much you want to socialize. I would encourage you to get out of your comfort zone, but not so much that you don't enjoy your trip. Have a specific attainable goal that you want to meet, such as I want to go on this specific group tour, or I want to have a conversation with X amount of people. And if you don't reach it, don't beat yourself up, because the purpose of a goal is motivation for a change in behavior. And even if you don't reach it, that doesn't mean you failed. It just gives you another goal for your next trip. So in the end, there is no one right way to travel. The differences between extroverted travel and introverted travel clearly show that, but hopefully traveling solo doesn't seem quite as scary now. And if you have any tips or tricks or stories, let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a fantastic day.